Everybody, welcome to Stocks on the Move for another day, another week. Today is the 8th of July 2021. My name is Richard Lee and I manage the stockradar.com.au website. We're coming with the snow this week. We've got to escape Melbourne for a week to come and get some fresh air up here and get out of all the COVID noise in Melbourne, turn off the news and switch off. It's been nice and refreshing to get up here. Fortunately, I can't block out all the sunlight here because it's so bright off the snow, but it has been very nice being up here. But the markets don't go away, so we're going to have a look at the markets today. Unfortunately, I don't have my microphone with me, so I've got my headphones. I hope that's all okay today and you can hear me okay. So we will go on. Okay, so education is what I do. Trading models, 18 years of performance history is what we have. We provide a complete trading centre on Stockradar with your own portfolio watch list so that you can see an example of how to manage your portfolio and how to run your stops and how to take a bit of time out from the market, because I'm a weekly model, okay? I'm not too concerned with what happens during the week. Money just focusing on Friday's close and executing all trades that I do on Monday. Okay, so the format for this week. Okay, trading tactics, be prepared. Now, I went through a few things last week with the portfolio, but we've had a very strong run the last 12 months or so I just want to put things in perspective a little bit, and we'll talk about a bit that as we go through today. As usual, we'll go through the overseas markets, the ASX 200, the Stockradar portfolio, and some ASX stocks. But like every good cub or scout there, always be prepared, dip, dop, whatever it is. But that's what they always do, so that's what I want traders to do at the moment, especially since it's been running up so high. Okay, so let's get into the market straight away. Okay, the Dow Jones, it has really done nothing. It's right up, sitting up right at the top of that little trading range we've been in for the last couple of months. Still very strong. Again, there's no real selling evidence here again. Upset acceleration slows a bit, but it's still very high. So the trend's nice and firmly intact there for the Dow. And the Nasdaq again, it's recovered pretty well and pushed through to... just have a look at this down a little bit. Push through these highs up here. Resilient is the word. The selling's been absorbed. There's plenty of buyers back here. This is starting to tick up again, the MACD. So all is okay at the moment. Nothing to be untoward at the moment. Okay, Brent crude, one of our commodities. It's had a little bit of a sell-off this week, as we can see from there. But it's still been going very strong. We've had a long run up. Again, we've got to be careful when we get a long run up. There are always corrections coming, so we've got to be careful. And this is quite a dip down, this one, and a bit of volume there, as you can see down the bottom there. A bit of volume has hit the market, so we've got to be a little bit wary. Acceleration is still strong, so really we're probably in correction in uptrend mode, possibly, if this comes back a little bit further. So no real concern with crude, it still looks okay. The copper price, it is correcting at the moment, a little bit ahead of crude. It's gone through this process of breaking this little stop loss here, this little support level here, come down to this level here. It's recovered a bit, but it's not looking all that confident at this stage. And you can see here, we've got some pretty high red bars here, which means the sellers are certainly testing the uptrend at the moment. And you can see the uptrend has slowed considerably in copper at the moment. So that's okay. The correction is good. The resources are fine. I know in the market today they're pretty good, so it's not a huge concern. It's just a correction. Gold, not a lot to add to here. It's right in mid range between these lows and these highs. We're not too sure what it's going to do. Our gold stocks aren't doing much apart from that little one that I have, which we'll look at later on. So we're just waiting to see what's going to happen here. The buyer-seller battle is going on. People are trying to work out, well, is inflation going to affect the gold price? What's going to happen? We don't really know. But at the moment, we've got a lower high here, so I don't put pressure on this area down here. And if that breaks, then we're going to see more correction. But for the moment, we're still holding up. So we'll just wait, a bit of patience with this one as to see what's going to be happening next. Okay, now to the XJO, the ASX 200. Well, again, you can see it's just really gone sideways. The sellers are not hitting this market at this stage. It's in the high zone there. It's looking fine. So really, there's really nothing to worry about. We've got a new high. The portfolio is flat this week, excuse me, at 75 of 163, and we've got one in and one out this week. All the portfolios, well, the 5-stock portfolio is full, the 10-stock portfolio is full, and they're going along very nicely indeed. And the conservative portfolio, 9 out of 20, hasn't changed much, doesn't really change much, but it just ticks higher and higher and higher, slowly but surely, with a nice little cash pile, which is not losing money, so that's good. Okay, in the sector front, we've still got the banks, property, industrial materials, and internet. We see the Boral, the takeover offer for Boral was raised. and the price is pretty set on around 740, 739 at the moment. So we've got some good profits in there. We'll be tightening those stops up considerably now with this new bid. Okay, so that's the stocks. That's the ASX 200. Now let's look at go through some stocks. Firstly, my old favourite, BHP, which we've seen for a while, and there's really no change here. The battle still continues between the buyers and sellers. We have this upward slanting trading pattern, so the battle's still raging, volume steady. This has eased a little bit as the market goes sideways, so again we're still awaiting a resolution for this what I call a bullish pattern, and I think this week we're probably up around testing $50 again, which is good. Is it going to pop through? Well, we just have to wait and see, and hopefully it will, because we've entered right back here, so we're in a good position, but we need to make sure we hold on to that, and hopefully we'll get some more there. Okay, now new highs, Brickworks. It's performing beautifully. Again, it's just a situation of lifting your stop and these sorts of patterns. You can see the demand is here, down here. We've got great momentum in the market. It's well above the average. So we lift our stop here to tighten to make sure we protect our gains here. So there are plenty of new highs across the market that are doing this at the moment. So there's a bit of a wealth of riches for us all. So that's good. And so it's making hay while the sun shines, and that's what we're doing. And so Brickworks is one that we've got onto nicely there. Okay, the one that I did want to look at, the gold stock again, I'm going to look at it again because it's now starting to test this high area, and that's a fairly significant thing. The trend intensity rating is 10 on Perseus. This is now an interesting pattern because it's outperforming a lot of the gold stocks. It's had a trend reversal down here, and we can see down here we've got feasibly, I'm going to push this up a little bit just so you can get a bit of an idea of what's happening with the volume. It's trying, it's not extraordinary, but then again, gold stocks often rise on light volume because it's hard to get stock, and you can see here, it doesn't take much to move this price at the moment, and you can see the MAC down the bottom is very, very bullish, and it's above the moving average, so it all looks very good for Perseus, and making a new high is a box to tick for me. So that's so if we finish above there, that's this week, that's a very, very good sign for Perseus. New entries, well, we're looking at Bapcor at the moment. It's been sitting along there, banging away at this level up around $8.30, I think it is. Can't get through, but it's trying again this week. We've got this sort of higher low here, so I'm always looking to see what the buyers and sellers are doing and how they're jockeying around. At the moment, the buyers are coming a little bit earlier. We're starting to hold, above the moving average, which is good. If we can push through here, have a nice weekly close above there, then we may get set. I like the volume pattern down here. Whoa, sorry about that. I like the volume pattern down here because that's also giving us a very, very good sign that there's plenty of demand here at the moment. So I just had to squeeze that back up again. And my mouse is a bit sensitive sometimes. Okay, so we can see the volume up here has been very impressive. The MACD is good. This is good. So all we're really now is waiting for that new high to confirm. And this is what happens with new highs. You've usually got your MACD being positive and you're usually above the moving average. It's really just a matter of waiting for that price action to confirm. Price action is the most important part of what I do. So even though the indicators can say they're all bullish, it's the price action that I've got to wait and see. So with Bapcor, we've got to wait for this high to be broken. There's been a few tests here, and it's been rejected, but this time we're holding at the moment, so we'll have to wait and see if we can get a close above there. Trend intensity rating is in +1 at the moment. Okay, now the banks, well, I don't really want to talk too much about them, apart from the fact that they're being very resilient, they're holding up very well. The market's gone a bit flat the last week or two. But the Commonwealth Bank, it's also gone a bit flat. But realistically, it's had a huge rise. It's above the average. Volume is good. There's no real selling evident here. That red bar there equates to that downward move there, but nothing really significant. And this is still very strong and well above the zero level there. So that's a very good sign. So, with something like CBA, we can spend a couple of weeks going sideways and we tend to worry. But really, unless you've got a valid reason to sell, like your stock going off, then the trend is your friend until told otherwise, and often you'll see it bump higher again at some stage. And we have made a new high for Commonwealth Bank, a new all-time high, so that is significant, and that is certainly well worth hanging on to at the moment. Okay, so that's CBA, and the other banks are all looking pretty good. A bit of sideways consolidation on ANZ and NAB. Westpac's got quite a strong upward correction sort of pattern, is pushing higher, so they all look pretty good to me. Okay, now talking about stops. Stops go off every now and then. It's always a circle of stocks. There's always new opportunities. There's always things falling out. Sometimes more than not, depending what the market's doing. But for NEC, we've had this one for a long, long time. from right down here at about 157. It's now just dropped through this support level here, and that means the buyers are withdrawing because they have held it up here for quite some time. As you can see, all these long candles that have held the market up, but this time it's failed here below that support level. It's also below the average. So now risk is on. What happens next? Okay, so it's really a matter of situation. Okay, well, we've got profits to protect, so let's just stand aside, take our profit and let things unfold the way they will. If it makes a new high, we run with it. If it comes down, we made a very good choice. So it's really a matter if your stop is hit, whether you've been profit or loss. Losses can get bigger. If you let them, hard-earned profits can get smaller. So that's why you always listen to your stops. We don't want to watch it scroll down and all our profits disappear. You can see down here, there's a bit of a selling advance here. This is acceleration has slowed. So there are certain signs here below the average. This is slowed. Now this trend intensity rating should be a minus, which I'll put there at -4. I just haven't updated it there, but that's a negative trend intensity rating now. Well, this week it will be. We'll go into a negative rating. Okay, so that's what we always do. You know, when we've got a good trends, don't fall in love with stocks. Make sure you listen to what the price is telling you, and you get in or out as told. Okay, now a couple of interesting stocks I want to look at. A2 Milk. Have a look at this one for a long time. Why? Because it's been going down the gurgler, and there's been no real interest in there at all. But let me just size this up a little bit for you, and see if I can make sense of what's actually happening. Okay, A2 Milk. Trend intensity rating is still -8. Okay, so we're still downtrending and we're below the average. The MACD is very weak, but there are early signs. What I'm also looking for is early signs of a turn, and once I get that confirmation from my indicators and price action, then I can jump on it. So as it says here, I don't pick bottoms, but rather wait for a defined trend to develop and then I jump on it. A2 Milk has started that process. Now look at the volume down there. There's some serious buying happening there. Finally, someone's seeing some value in this stock from $20 down to about 5 or just below 6. So it's had a huge fall, and we just let that scale all the way down. Now we've got the volume here, which is good, but it's nowhere near the average, and this MACD is well down below there, and I have no price action whatsoever that suggests the trend reversal is. What I do have is early evidence of a sign, so now it goes onto my watch list, and I can start watching this for these signs. This will take quite a few weeks to develop, if it does develop, so we just have to be patient and wait. I'd rather be conservative and jump on when it starts to rising, rather than trying to think, well, this might be the bottom, I'll have a go, and it fails. So I take the conservative view. I am patient, conservative, there is no urgency. There are always some stocks going up and down. A2 Milk just looks like we might have an opportunity for the moment. Okay, now the other stock I want to have a look at here is Fortescue. The reason I wanted to have a look at that was because it's a bit like BHP, but what we've got up here, whoopsie, we just lost that for a second. So what we've got here is a similar pattern of demand, these high lows, but we can also see clearly up here, we've got a lot of long candle wicks up here where the buyers have pushed it up and the sellers have knocked it back down. We tried to make a rally to the high here, we failed again. But each time the buyers are coming in and holding this price up. So whatever it is, it was running on very well here a long time ago from right down to around $10 up to about $25. It was a great run, responding to high and oil prices really well. But now all of a sudden it's not. And we're talking about green hydrogen now. Are they going to spend some money up there? Maybe some other things that are entering the people's mind, and just making people a bit more reticent about buying this stock. Moving to the dividend period, there'll probably be a few people who want to do that, but you're still got to be careful when the stock is not in a clear uptrend, because the dividend can be paid and it can go down $2 very quickly. So just make sure you know the signs are okay for here. So Fortescue's trend intensity rating is 0. It's a standoff for now, but we do have the price action that suggests a bust up may be looming, but we need to wait for it to happen. So it's not quite sure at the moment. Activity is waning down there. This has come down quite a bit, still positive, but very flat. So an interesting one, Fortescue, not the time quite now, so we just have to wait and see. Okay, now, so that's patience. In our portfolio stocks, we've got stocks like IGO, which I'm really excited about our portfolio because it's doing really well. We reviewed it last week. It's better again this week. It's up 8% since March, probably a bit better this week. So there's no change in the portfolio, no exits or entries. Adelaide Brighton is still the one that's still a bit sluggish, but the other ones are going along very nicely, like Mineral Resources, Sol, Computershare, etc. So IGO especially has been a nice bounce for that portfolio. Okay, so for all the qualifying levels and disqualifying levels, you want to see all the stock picks and non-stock picks, you have to go to Stockradar to see exactly what they are and also where my stops are. Okay, so now I want to go to trading tactics. I mentioned before, we've done the portfolio review last week and I'll review it again in a week or two. But this week I want to talk about being prepared. Because it's times like this when the markets are going quite high, we're very reticent to give away our stocks. But you can take things slowly and gently. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about that today. So trading tactics is about being prepared. So make your money, but you've got to be smart about this, because if you just let greed take control, you just sit there and just let the market go up and you forget about it, it will come back to bite you at some stage, because the market will correct as they do. So close your ears if you don't want to hear this. Every 2 years there is a correction of 10 to 15%. The market's been rising since March last year, about 18 months, okay? Every 10 years there's a correction of around 30 to 50%. GFC, COVID, whatever. Some are quick, some are slow. COVID recovery was very fast. The GFC recovery was very slow. So they're all different. So let's not get complacent and make sure there are things we can do. We currently have a raging bull market at the moment, okay? So don't fall in love with stocks, learn to let them go. We never know when the bear will growl. So stops protect our big fall. Stops protect against big falls. Okay, but taking partial profits every now and then is good money management. Now I have a little bit of a strategy with my portfolio members that says when we get to a certain profit level, we can start taking out some of our stock, put some in the bank, but we still hold enough stock to still be exposed to the trend. So it's about taking some profits off the table, putting some in the bank on the way up, just to make sure when the market does come down, you maybe made a sensible move and just park some of that money in a very safe place. So it's good money management to do that, okay? So the Stockradar strategy is always about being prepared. I'm always thinking about the alternative situation. So we're in a bull market, but I'm also wary that the market comes down, what's going to happen. I have stops, but also I said I can take a little bit of profit. So the Stockradar strategy is focusing on what all those levels are, what you do, and how you should behave, okay? Always exit when stops are hit. We trade uptrends only. We don't ride out bear markets or carry big drawdowns. We would rather get back in later when the stocks turn back up again. So a lot of people might want to ride it out, but if you'd rid it out during the GFC, it would have been an awfully long time to get your money back. COVID's different, but we never know what's ahead. So I just like to, if my stops get hit, I just like to chop myself out and wait to see what happens. And as I said, nobody's going to ring the bell when the market gets to a top. Okay, so you've got to be a bit careful. So I'm saying always take advantage of a run. I have a simple strategy with my portfolio managers, which I've talked about. Nobody will ring the bell at the top. They don't, but we still always stay exposed to an uptrend while the market's going up. Okay, so that's about all I've got for you today. So remember, we're making money, but always be prepared. Look out for the top. So be prepared for the other outcome. Always take advantage of strong ones while still maintaining exposure. It could happen tomorrow or any other day. It always does. Please, please, please be smart, not greedy. Okay, that's the message I've got for you today. So good luck for the trading week. Thanks for listening today. I hope you've all learned something today, and I'll see you all next week. Thanks very much from the snow. Bye now.